there at that time, so people used to play this game at that time, Pokemon Go. So I found its API, and that API gives it some of its data. So let's see what that API has. Okay, I'll just copy this URL. Amazing. So yeah, this is the API that I have, the Pokemon Go API. This has information about every Pokemon that used to be in that game. So we have this whole data. Today, what we'll be doing, we'll be making an app where we'll be hitting this API and using its data. Okay, we'll make something out of it. We have this whole bunch of data here. It has almost information about every Pokemon that used to be there in that game. So we'll use this API. We are getting the whole data in JSON. So we have this whole JSON file, JSON data over here. Okay. So let's jump into Android Studio and see what we can do with it. Okay. I've created this fresh project. Okay. Uh, we have this main.dart file that Flutter gives us by default. Let's just remove everything over here. Let's just remove everything and start with fresh. Okay. So I hope the starting point is clear. We are going to be using this Pokemon Go app API, and we'll be using this data. Okay, we'll be getting this whole data and showing it in our app. Okay, so let's start. I hope everyone knows how to write the first line of our Flutter app. That very simple. We have to just use this main function. This would be the entry point of our application, and inside this is also very familiar. We have to use this run app function. Okay, and inside the run app, we have to import the material package of Dart. Okay, we imported it, and inside this we use this material app class. This is clear, I think, for everyone. Yesterday we did this many times, and here we have some properties. We have the home property. Okay, so everyone know why do we use this home property. The first page of our app, we give this inside this home property. Okay, let's name that page as home page, simply home page. Okay. Okay, let's create this home page class. So first, let's just keep it a stateless widget. So we will keep this as a stateless widget for now. But now I think most of you did a little research about what is stateless and stateful widget. So think of it like this now: this app is not going to be static. Okay, we are going to be hitting that API and getting some data from that API. So that would be a dynamic process. In this case, the stateless widget will not work because the stateless widget cannot change its state according to the state of our data. Okay, so we'll just convert this stateless widget into a stateful widget, because today we are going to have a dynamic data. Okay, so let's, for converting it, simple, just get your cursor on this. In this light icon, you'll get this option to convert it to the stateful widget. Okay, we converted it to a stateful widget. Okay, as you can see, the traditional structure of stateful widget, you must have seen this many times. Okay, so first point, what we have to do, we are going to hit that API. Okay, I just tried out that API in my browser, so I got this data. So let's just copy this URL and use it in our app. Okay, I'll copy this URL and just make a variable for this URL. Okay, we'll just make a variable with the name URL. Okay, uh, it could be inside a string. Okay, fine. I have this API's URL. Okay, this is the Pokemon Go API. Uh, Now what we have to do is we have to make a HTTP request. Like as you can see there, this is an HTTP request we have to make. So for that we need a dependency which would make HTTP calls for us. So let's just go to pub.dev and get a dependency for HTTP for sending HTTP request. Okay, simple, just search HTTP, you'll get some dependencies. We have some dependencies for HTTP request. Let's just get the first one. Okay, here they have given how to use this. Let's just install it in our app. Just copy this in our YAML file. Okay. Where's the dependency section? Here we have this dependency section. Copy this that text over here. Run pub.get over here. Uh, it will import that API. Yeah, process finished with exit code 0. That means the dependency is successfully imported in our app. Okay. Okay, then I hope this much is clear to everyone. Let's just open up our emulator and see what we are getting at this point. Uh, Use the Pixel 3 Excel. Name of this project is Poke App. Okay, we'll just open up command prompt. Just reduce this its size. Our emulator is running. Let's just side by side we'll run this project for now and see what are we getting at this point. We didn't do anything. We just made a stateful widget, and inside that we are just returning a container. So I think we'll not get anything. We'll just get a blank screen for now. Okay, this will take some time. So for now, let's let's go to the API and let's make a Dart class out of this API. Okay, because this whole data we have to normalize it in our application. So let's just copy this whole JSON object, and I'll tell you one thing. Go to this website for JSON to Dart. Okay, just search JSON to Dart in Google. You'll get this first website to convert this whole JSON object into a Dart class. Okay, so the thing we have just copied over here and we'll paste it over here. Okay, I think it is not copied properly. Just paste it over here. I pasted this whole JSON object over here. Okay, let's just generate a Dart file out of it. Okay, this website automatically created a Dart file out of this JSON object. Okay, so let's just take this whole Dart file, this whole Dart class, and let's just copy it in our project. Okay, let's just create a separate Dart file for that. What should we name it? Let's just name it Pokemon.dart. We've copied this whole thing. We are getting some errors because this is converted by that website. So this is going to have some errors. Where are the errors? Here we have this error. It is saying the pre-evolution isn't a type. So let's just remove this. We don't need it for now. Here also we have that it's object. Let's just remove it. And we have this again. Okay, so here we just converted that whole JSON object into a Dart class using this. JSON to Dart website. Okay, just go to this website and copy this that whole JSON data over here, and you'll get a ready-made Dart class for it. It gave us an auto-generated name. Let's just refactor it and give it our own name. Okay, we'll just name it. What should we name it? Let's just name it anything. We'll name it Poke Hub. Just Poke Hub because we are going to have many Pokemons over here. We renamed this class now. Okay. So we have this whole Dart class of that JSON object. Don't worry much about it. This is all just auto-generated code. We are not going to mess around too much with this code. So don't just worry about this code. Let's just focus on our Dart file, okay, which we are creating. So if you have read about stateful widgets, you get to know that there are various states of a stateful widget. The first is the init state. Then we have this build state when the widget gets built, and we have dispose state. So we are going to need an init state, okay, over here, because as soon as our before building the whole screen, we have to do some data fetching. Okay, we have to fetch the whole data from that API, and we have to use it. So we can't just build without any data. We can just build the screen. So we'll use this init state method. Okay, if you just type init, you'll get this shortcut. This is the init state method. Okay, here. Okay. I just initialize this at the wrong place. I have to initialize it down in that state class. Okay. So let's just declare this variable where we have that whole URL for that JSON object. Okay. For today, just try to follow along with me. Okay. We'll try to cover up as many types of widget as can be today. Okay, because we have time limitations. Okay, so let's just so we have this URL. Let's just see how can we fetch the JSON data by hitting that URL. Okay, so in your init state, okay, in your init state, we'll call a method called fetch data. Okay, because we are fetching a data, we'll make a method to fetch data. So let's just call this method fetch data. Okay, we have not created this method for now, so let's just create this method. Okay, we created this method. It is not necessary for you to specify the return type of a function. So even if you don't specify the return type over here, that would be fine. That has that flexibility. You have to not strictly write the return type of every function. Okay, so we'll leave it for now. Okay, because that is not compulsory. It will automatically detect whatever return type of that function it is, and it will work accordingly. Okay, so we have to get the HTTP package for that because we are making an HTTP request, as you can see. So let's just import the HTTP package. We just added that dependency in our YAML file. So let's just import that. Okay, import http.dart. We'll import this package http.dart. Okay. Oh, okay. We imported this HTTP as Dart. Let's just as Dart. Let's just give it a name so that it will be easy for us to use this package. Okay, we just imported it with a name, so whenever we want to use any of its function, we can call it by using this HTTP keyword. Okay, you can give any name to it. We just imported the HTTP package. Okay, so let's do some data fetching over here in this fetch data class. Okay, so in fetch data, we are storing what we are doing. We are getting the result of that API. Okay, so we'll store that result into a result into a variable. Okay, let's just name that variable var, and res is equals to http dot get. This get is a method which we get from the http class. Okay, so let's just see if we can print the result. Okay, what we are getting from that API. Let's just see what we are getting. Okay, our app is ready. Okay, nothing is there on the screen because in the body we hadn't built anything, just we have this empty container over here. So first let's just see which result we are getting. Okay, let's just restart our hot restart our app. Okay, see, we are getting this instance of future response. Okay, so I hope many of you would be familiar with asynchronous programming, because some tasks when programming there are some tasks which take time. So we don't want to just so we want to just block our code for some time. We just cannot go forward without getting the response of that. So here we have the same case. We just cannot without because see, this http.get method, this is going to take some time because this is going to go to that API and get data for us. So this is going to take some time, and print, as we know, print doesn't require much processing, so it will print before just getting the result. That's why it is giving us the instance of future response. Future response means there is no data for now, but we are going to have data in the future. Okay, I, so let's just make the code uh, compatible with it, so that we do not just print the data before getting the response. We'll first get the data and then we'll print the response of that whatever result we get after getting that hitting that API. Okay, so we'll just make this method as async. Async is the keyword we have in that to just mark the class as asynchronous, because this is going to be an asynchronous operation. This is not going to be in a row. Dart is a single threaded language. So that's why we have to use this tricks to use asynchronous programming. Okay, what is the use of fetch data? See, we are hitting this API or the Pokemon Go API. We are going to get this data from there. Okay, so we'll use this data in our app and build something out of it. Okay, let's just follow along with me. Don't get confused for today. Just try to examine what widgets I use, what widgets would be useful for making such thing. Okay, first, for now we are just making this fetch data method. We are making an HTTP request and we are getting data from that API. Okay, so let's just make await. We have this await keyword in Dart, so we could make this to await. After that, only this print statement will get executed. Okay, so let's just hot restart again. See what we get. See, now it is waiting for getting the response. See, now we got instance of response. Okay, earlier when we didn't add the async and await keywords, we were getting this future response because at that point it didn't have any data. So now when we added this async and await, we it first fetched the whole data, and after that it printed it. Okay, so here we have it. Okay, so okay, we have to use this data in our app. We are not just going to play around in the console. So let's just see how we can use this data inside our app, okay, and make something out of it. So we have to decode that whole JSON object. We are going to get a whole JSON object. We have to decode it because we are going to get the body of that. Okay, if I type just result dot body, so I'll just get the whole body of that JSON object. Okay, see here, here after some time we'll get that body. See, we got that whole JSON object over here. Okay, so let's just see how we can use this data. Okay, for that let's just remove this body and let's just first decode the whole JSON object that we are getting into parts which are useful for us. Okay, So let's just use a variable of JSON. Uh, Variable, we'll name it JSON decoded value. Okay. Okay. So here we'll use one inbuilt function in that is JSON decode. JSON for JSON decode, you have to import this uh, Dart Dart switch object. Okay, we have to use this Dart convert library. Okay, so it will auto import it for us. See here we got the Dart convert library. Okay, so here we have to go at the source. So source, as we know, the source is our result which we got here. This result dot body of that result. Okay, so inside this whole body we are having the main part. Otherwise if we just use the result is an object, it is it is like an instance, so we have to get the dot body thing out of it. Okay, so after it we'll set state. Set state, if you don't know, think of it like uh, see our if the screen is built once, it cannot be built again. Okay, so this set state, what this thing does, it forces the screen to rebuild again whenever we have the data. When wait will when we'll have the data on the screen, then we'll get to know about this, how this set state works. Okay, so okay, I think this is fine. So if you remember, we just created this Pokemon class over here. Okay, so this Pokemon class we created over here. Okay, so let's just use this or use an object of this PokeHub class. Okay, in our Dart file, main Dart file over here. Okay, we'll use this. We'll just declare object over here and we'll name it the same value. Just name it PokeHub only. Okay, we have to import the Pokemon PokeHub class. That's why it is giving us an error. Okay, we imported it. Now use camel case whenever you are declaring variables. Otherwise, it will give that yellow line. Okay, I hope all of you know what is camel case style of writing. Okay, so okay, we got that PokeHub object. So now what we'll do, we'll whatever decoded value we are getting, we'll store that instance into that PokeHub class. Okay, because we have here everything, the whole constructor and all of that PokeHub class. So we'll store that whole object inside this class. That's why we just imported this class. Okay, so let's see how we'll store our data inside that class. Okay, so we'll just use that PokeHub object that we got will is equals to uh, PokeHub dot from JSON. This is again a method inside the Dart convert library. So we have to give here the decoded value which we can store inside that PokeHub class. So we'll just have the decoded value that we have here. This one. Okay. We'll just give spaces so that it is more easy to read. Okay. So now let's read. Let's just print what this PokeHub is getting. Okay. Okay. ठीक है. So now let's just try printing this, what we are getting over here. Let's just hot restart. It will take some time. See, we are getting some errors. Okay. Because we use that ready-made, we didn't write it on our own, that whole class. We use this convert JSON to Dart conversion auto-generated class. So that's why it is getting some error. It is saying that the type int is not subtyped of double. Okay, so let's just head to that PokeHub class and see where we are having that issue. Okay, here will okay, got it. Uh, there are some variables over here which by default it gave it and default it gave it an double value, but the data which we are getting from the API is in integer form, but the auto generated class just gave it the spawn chance and every response a double. Okay, so let's just make it a string. Why? I mean, just instead of a integer, let's just make it a string. That would be very easy for us to use. And wherever we have this, uh, and wherever we have its JSON date object, we'll just go there and make it give a toString method to it, so that it will, whatever data we'll get, it may that be in integer double, it will just convert it into a toString. Okay, so let's just here use the toString method. Okay, if you remember, these were the two objects that we were getting error for. So let's just convert, give it a toString method. Okay, now I think we'll not get an error. Okay, let's just hot restart and see what we are getting. It will take some, it will take little time. Okay, again we are getting error. One more error we are getting over here, that the cast was called on null. Okay, can you send the yes? Today's whole project, I'll put it on my GitHub and I'll share it with you. Okay, don't worry. Just for now, try to follow along with me. Try to see what kinds of widgets I'm using, what kinds of packages I'm using. Okay. For now, don't just worry about every detail. Okay. I'll share today's whole code on GitHub. Okay. So see what error we are getting. This try to call the cast double. Okay, again we are having this error. This the data which we are getting for this multiplier, it is null. So we just put a null aware operator. If you remember, we saw what a null aware operator is. So we'll just put this question mark and it will detect if the data is null. It will not assign that data. Okay, after it will assign only if it's not null. Okay, so we just we are getting it in the multipliers. Okay, if you see it in the console, we are getting the error for this multipliers JSON thing. Okay, so here when it's casting it to a double value, let's just put a question mark. So this will make it null aware. Okay, no, there are various methods to use the null aware operator. Okay, I don't have an image, otherwise I could have shown you. Wait, I have very good example for that. See this method, this image. Uh, See, this is an article about null aware operator. If you want to know more about it, go on Medium. Medium, there are very good articles about all that. Okay. See, if you see this image, I hope it's visible. Why it is not expanding? See, here they have given various types in which we can use the null aware operator. This is the double question mark thing which we saw. Okay, we can use it in this way, or this is the double. Also in this way, if assign y to x only if it is null. Okay, and this is the way where how we are using in our app for now. If the return of the foo is not null, then only we'll use that, otherwise we'll not use that. Okay, so just I'll suggest you go to Medium. Here they have this beautiful article about the null aware operator. You'll get to know everything about it. Okay. Okay, let's just go to our code. So this was the error. We just injected a question mark over there, and let's see if we are getting error now. Okay, see, now we got this instance of PokeHub. So everything is clean now. We are not getting any error. So we have the whole data in our class. Let's just go and see how can we make our UI using that data. Okay, we just went and get put a get request for that API, and now we'll make up an UI using that data which we are getting from the API. Okay, so I hope everyone is similar with the scaffold widget. Scaffold widget, you know, this it gives us a ready-made layout. Okay, so let's one more thing I'd like to show you. If you want to give change a primary color instead of blue, like if you know how, if you have created some project by default, a primary color of our app built in Flutter is blue. So if you want to change that blue color, you can just go inside this homepage material. Okay, this material app thing, and here you can define its theme. Okay, so here we have this theme data. We can give its theme. So theme data. Okay, theme data, inside theme data we can define various kinds of things. See this much properties there are in this theme data class. We are getting the whole list of it. First, see what we need. We want to change the primary color from blue to we'll change the primary color from blue to some other color. Okay, because for now, let's just see what primary color we are getting. If we built an app bar over here, app bar, let's just see which color app bar we are getting. Let's just do an hot restart. See, the primary color for now is blue. So let's just go and change that primary color to some other color which would be familiar. So let's here we have a property called primary swatch. Okay, primary swatch. What this will do? This will change the primary color from blue to whatever color we give to it. For now, let's just give it a color dot what color should we use? We'll use this color. Okay, teal. This is looking good. I think for our application this will look good. So let's just use this color. So now what this did, instead of explicitly going and defining the color everywhere, we can give the change the primary color. Now every time this will use the teal as a primary color. Okay, so just keep this small thing in mind. Otherwise, if you just if give a color here also, that would be also fine. Here we have the background color property. Let's just not worry for that for now. Let's just see how we can build our UI using this data. Okay, so what we want to do, we like what we are going to have is we are going to have a details of every Pokemon. Okay, which we are getting from that Pokemon API. So we'll show it in a grid view. I hope you know what is a grid view is. Grid view is like we are our various cards laid out in a grid form. Either we can have a list view. List view, we know list view just comes with a okay. So let's just in our for our body, we'll use the widget called grid view dot count. Okay, we have these various kinds of grid view. For now, we'll use this count because we are going to have the count for that grid view. So why this is giving an error? Okay, grid view dot count is not a widget. We have to. Okay, sorry, I just assigned it to the background color. I have to give it to the body property of that scaffold. Okay, we'll use this body property, and here we'll use that grid view dot count. Grid view dot count. Okay, now it is fine. Count cross axis count will mean how many items we need in a cross axis. Okay, in mean one line how many items we need. For now we'll just have 2 items. Okay, that would be very much fine, I think. And inside the children property, okay, inside the children, what we are going to have, the children for this grid view would be the cards or the objects which we are getting from that API. So let's just see how we can build that whole, use that whole list of childrens, and we can build it in our UI. Okay. So here, as you know, in grid view, we have this children property which expects a list of widgets. So instead of hard coding all the widgets, we'll we'll make it, you build that widget using that class. Okay, we'll give it a list of widgets. Okay, so we have our Poke Hub object which we have created over here. I hope you know this one object. From this we have a, we have this property inside that class of Pokemon, so which gives us the lists of all the Pokemons. Okay, and we'll use this map method. Okay, I hope you know what is a map method. We have it inside a list, so it will go and get every get all the number of objects that we have over there. So we will use this map method. Okay, what this map method returns is, it returns a widget. Okay, but first we have to pass it a parameter. The parameter which we are going to add, this would be the type of Pokemon. Okay, this would be type of Pokemon object which we are going to pass, and we'll just name it anything. Can name it Pokemon. We'll just name it POKE for now. Okay. Here we have to return a widget. Okay. So what we want, we have to, we'll make separate cards out of it. Okay. Every Pokemon image or data what we are getting, we'll make separate class cards out of it. Okay. So let's just return return a card over here. Okay, we'll return this card widget. Card is a widget. Okay, I hope you know that. Okay, and this, what this is, why this is giving error, it is saying the iterable card can't be assigned. Okay, this whole line is returning an iterable, so we'll just use this to list method to make it a list, because as we know the children expects a list of widget. Okay, so we just use this to list method. that would that would work and the error will go. Okay, so inside this card, we can define various properties. For now, just use a column. Okay, use a column as a child of that card. Okay, hope yes, column widget can be used to lay out widgets inside a column. Okay, in a vertical column. Okay, and in column we'll use that uh, we'll give it a children. Okay, we have children property in this column. So in this children, the first children, we'll take it container, a simple container. Okay, we'll give it a children as a simple container. If you know what is a container widget, it is just an empty box. Okay, inside which we can do we can insert various kinds of widget. So let's give this container a height. We'll give it a height of 100 pixels, and width also, let's take it as 100 pixels. So this will give us a what this will give rectangle, sorry, square boxes that it will give us. Okay, on our screen. So for now, let's just go to our screen and see what we are getting. Okay. Okay, this is giving a error, a very huge error. Okay, it gave us an error. Gave us an error. Did you notice anything? For some seconds we had a red screen, and after we got the data, the screen automatically got built up. Okay, let's see this once again. Notice this thing. For some time we'll get that error screen, and as soon as we get the data, as soon as we get the data from that JSON object after hitting the API, we'll get this screen built up. Okay, so I'll do a hot restart. You just notice what we are getting initially. Okay. See, we got a red screen for some time, and as soon as we got the data, the screen got built. Okay, so what should we do to remove this error, to for not just do that? I think the solution for this is very simple. if you have studied, you know what is uh, what we call that question mark thing, a ternary operator. Okay, we have a ternary operator. We can use it over here. Okay, until the we get the data, it will kind of put an if condition over here. If data is available, then show this card widget. If data is not available, what we should we do? We can just show a circular progress indicator. Like, if you know, we have a circular progress indicator in various apps, so we'll show that for before when we if we do not have the data. Okay, so let's just use that ternary operator over here. We have this PokeHub object. If this PokeHub object is equal to null, because initially when we don't have data, it will return null. Okay, so for in that condition, what should we do? We'll just return a circular progress indicator. Okay, uh, circular progress indicator is also an inbuilt class in Dart. Okay, in Flutter SDK we can use that. We can use it, and you know how to use a ternary operator. Okay, fine, this will work. Okay, so what this condition is, I hope this condition is clear to everyone. That, see, if this PokeHub object is null, because initially when we are hitting that API, when we are making an HTTP request, that would take some time according to our internet speed. Okay, so until that, what we'll do, we'll show this circular progress indicator, and after, as soon as we get data inside it, we'll show this card. Okay, the list of cards that we built. Okay, so let's just rebuild it and see what we get. I'll press a hot restart now. See, we are getting a circular progress indicator over there, and as soon as we got the data, our widgets got built. The circular progress is coming over here. Let's just wrap it in a center widget so that it comes in the center. I think the cards are not being highlighted, so let's just give some decorate this cards. Let's just give it an elevation of some pixels. We'll use some 10 pixels elevation. I think that would be fine. What elevation would that? It will just give a little shadow to that card. Okay, let's just hot restart again and see what we are getting. Okay, initially we got that circular progress bar, and now our whole cards got built. See, this is a huge list. Now we'll start inserting data into it. Okay, whatever data we are getting from that PokeHub object. Okay, so inside this, inside this cards, we are going to have detail for every Pokemon. Okay, so let's just add that data, because we are having this PokeHub object. Okay, as you know, we have created the object of this PokeHub class. So let's just add that data. So inside this container, what we'll show is uh, we'll show an image. Okay, so the container has a property of decoration. Okay, on decoration we'll use box decoration. Can we arrange all cards on a single screen so that we don't have to scroll? How like, but that will not good na, that will not look good. If you have we have so much cards over here. See, if you scroll, there are almost 100 200 types of cards. How can you just have the 100 cards inside the single screen? We have to scroll one now for that. That would, we can also do that. If we want three cards in one row, we can just increase this cross axis count, and we can also have three cards in a row. Okay, I gave it a cross axis count of 2, that's why we have two cards in a row. Okay, so let's see, if I give three cards, so see, now we have three cards in a row. Okay, yeah, you can have that in general if you are just thinking of that, but if you have less data, then you can do that. But if you have more data, like here we have hundreds of cards being built, so here we cannot do that. Okay, so this for this funda, I think is clear. We just increase the cross axis count to 3, that's why we are getting 3 cards in a row. Okay, If we just make it to 2, we'll get 2 cards. Okay, so this is just a small thing. You can keep this in mind. So in this box decoration, what we want, we'll show the image of that Pokemon which we are getting. Okay, so we will use this decoration image. We have this decoration image widget. We are getting, we are what kind of image we are using. We are using a network image because we are hitting over an URL and we are getting an images from there. See, as you can see in this JSON, uh, we have we have different, see, or for every Pokemon we have their URL for their image. Okay, if you just copy this and see what we get from this URL, see, for every Pokemon we have this URL which gives its photo. Okay, so we'll have to use this network image property and hit that URL and get that image. Okay, we'll just use this network image. Okay, and what URL will give it to in the poke dot image. Okay, okay dot image, we'll give it. Okay, so now what we'll get is we'll get image for every Pokemon. Okay, so let's just see hot restart what we get now. We'll get some data from that JSON file, JSON object. Okay, now see, now we are getting photos of everyone. Okay, there are lots of them. This will depend on your internet speed. If you have good internet, this will load very fast. Otherwise, see, they are loading one by one. Okay, so these are all network images. We are getting these images from a network. Okay, so we are done with it. Let's just decorate our card little bit. I think our card is not looking that much attractive now. Okay, so let's just give our column some alignment. Okay, let's just align our column properly. We'll give the main axis alignment as main axis alignment dot space evenly would be good. Okay, and again we gave it an elevation. We'll just wrap it with a gesture detector because we are going to take this data to some other page. So we'll just wrap it with a gesture detector. Detector is nothing. Using gesture detector, we can have that on tap and on pressed functionality. Okay, so we'll just wrap it with a gesture detector widget. Okay, so again we can see we are getting the data, but we need some padding between this. We need some space between all these. So we'll just wrap this gesture detector with a padding widget. Okay, I, I hope this is a very simple thing. Padding widget, what it does, edge insect dot all means from all the four side of that card, it will give 8 pixels of padding to it. Okay, padding means the little bit spaces that we have. Okay, see, now let's just hard restart it to see what we are getting. See, we are getting some padding. If you want more padding between them, you can just increase this. But I think this is looking fine. So we'll just let it be. Again, one more thing, we'll just display each of it their name below the image. Okay, so we'll just use a normal uh, text widget for that. I think text widget will work. We just want to display their name. So text widget would work for that. What string we have to pass, we'll just pass that poke object, and here we have all the things we have. What we want a name, so we'll use this name property. Okay, and to make it a little bit bolder, I think see, now we are getting everyone's name. Okay, so just style this name little bit because the name is not looking good. So in every text widget we have this style property where we can use this text style widget. Okay, text style widget, what we can do, we can define the font size and all. Let's just give it a font size of 20 pixels. Okay, we'll make it a little bit bolder. Okay, so we'll make it font weight dot bold. Okay, font weight dot bold. Okay, let's see if something changes now. See, now it is grown up and the font is also bold. This one is looking a little bit better. Okay. So after that, see what we are going to do. Whenever we tap on this image, we are going to take us to another page, and we'll show there the details of these Pokemons. Okay, because we are getting so much of very much properties from this JSON. We are getting this much properties. What did we use for now? We just use this photo URL and the name. We have so many things. So whenever we press on that gesture and that card, we'll be taken to that another page. So let's just create that another page. That will be also very easy. Okay. So we'll name this class as Poke Detail. I think that would look good. Poke Detail. Okay, because we are going to show the details of every Pokemon over here. Here we can use a stateless widget because the data is not going to change over here. Data is going to be pretty stable. No, we are not going to have any dynamic data over here. So let's just name this Poke. Okay. Let's just import the material library. Okay. So now it is there. So what we are going to show here, we are going to bring that data of whatever Pokemon object we have there. We are going to use that data over here. Okay. So we just use it using a constructor. We'll pass that data to this class. Okay. We'll have a constructor of this class. Let's just make a constructor for this class of type Pokemon. Okay. We'll name it Pokemon. Okay. So we have to use that to make it inside a constructor. So pocket detail, and we'll just use this dot Pokemon. Fine. We have a constructor for this. Okay. So okay, we have a constructor over here. Let's just go back to our page and see how can we navigate to that page where we'll be showing the whole details of that particular Pokemon whatever we have. So here the gesture detector, I told you whenever we wrap something with a gesture detector, we get properties like on pressed, on tap, on double tap. So you will use this simple on tap callback. Okay. So we got this on tap. Okay. Of in on tap, what we'll do, we'll just write down the function, anonymous function to navigate to that other Pocket detail page. Okay. So we'll write navigator dot, what we are doing, we are pushing it. No, so we will write navigator dot push. So what page route should we use? We have two options. Either we can use the material page route or the Cupertino page route. Object over here. Okay. No, this would work fine. Okay. So let's just see what we are getting over here. We did a hot restart. Uh, we got the data. Okay. Whenever we'll tap on that, we'll be taken to that another screen. But we didn't build any UI over there. So let's jump over there and build that screen's UI. Okay. So here what I'm thinking is we'll use a stack widget, and we'll lay around that widget on top of each other. Okay. Let's just see how we'll make that page. Okay. For now we are just returning a container. So we'll return a stack widget over here. Okay. Stack. Okay. Well, let's just first give this an app bar also. Okay. Oh no, sorry. We have to use a scaffold first, and inside that we'll give a proper we'll do the body as a stack. Okay. So scaffold, okay, and let's give it an app bar. App bar will be the same color, okay, the primary color that we defined over there. And let's just, and the app bar what we'll show the name of that Pokemon whatever we are tapping upon, okay. So we'll do, okay, so and this app bar will show Pokemon dot name, okay. We have this name property. Oh, sorry, we have to give it inside a title property. We'll have to wrap this up in a text widget, and in this title property we have to give this, so this will not throw error after that. TLE, okay, fine. This is, this much is clear, okay. So now in the scaffold in the body we'll be building a stack widget, okay. Stack widget will build over here. We'll have its children, okay. The stack is a widget kind of widget. Think of it like if you want to lay around some widget on top of each other, there we can use a stack widget, okay. Column, we saw column lays around the widget in a row, okay. Oh, why is this line coming? Please. Okay, these lines are coming from where I don't know. We'll just remove this, okay. So okay, stack widget is we will lay around the widgets on top of each other. Let's just quickly give this stack widget some childrens, okay. So first children will use is a position widget. Position widget, don't worry, it is not something extra, it is a simple widget, okay. Here because we can define the position very accurately using this widget, okay. Before doing that, let's just give this scaffold a background color same as the primary color, okay. Okay, let's just give the scaffold a background color property of let's say the same color that we used as a primary color, colors dot teal, okay. Let's just see what we are getting for now, okay. See, okay, wait. Okay, just let me. This will take some time, okay. Uh, it just got closed. Let's just rerun our app. Until then, we'll just edit our position widget. What position we are going to give that widget. Here we have various properties like height. We'll give it a height almost 75% of that screen size. Okay, whatever screen size you have, we'll give the 75% height to it. Okay. So we yesterday saw media query. You can use media query over here. Media query of dot of context. Okay, dot what size, okay, size, and what we are going to have height ka 75% of fraction, okay, 75% of height, so just 0.75. Oh, this would work, okay. Again we also have the width property over here. Our app is getting built until now, so we'll just give the width also over here, okay. Width, same, we'll use a media query, and what we'll just reduce 20 pixels from this side, so that would look good, okay. Media query dot of context dot size, and we'll just do width minus 20, so it will just shift little bit 20 pixels this side, okay. And we also have left right properties. If you want to specify it explicitly, we have this left property by using which we can give it some space from left, right, top, bottom, whatever you want. We'll give 10 pixels from left, and from top we'll give it 0.1% of that height, okay, whatever we have. media query dot you'll get this will get clear once we build that whole widget. Okay, don't worry for now. Size dot height, and height, what we are using, 0.1% of that height, 0.1. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. Let's just see what we are getting. See, this is the our possession widget. We didn't give it any child now. That's why it is showing this red screen. But yeah, we'll give it a child. Okay, then it will show the data whatever inside the child we have. Okay, so what child should we give it? I think a card would be fine. Okay, card, as we know, it is a very useful widget. Okay, to show some specific data. So we'll just use that card widget. You can use any widget. You can, okay, according to your. So let's just give this card some shape. I think a rectangular card would not look that attractive, so let's just give it a shape. So we'll give it some border. We'll give it a rounded rectangle border, and we'll give the uh, border radius. Okay, wait a minute, just wait. We have this rounded rectangle border, and we have this border radius property. We'll give it a border radius. We'll give a little bit of circular border. So we'll use this border radius dot where we have a circular. Yeah, we have it. The circular one. We'll give it let's say 24 pixels of border. Okay. Okay. And now let's see what content we are going to have inside that card. We'll just give it some. We'll have a column as a child of this card, because we'll have to show that data in a vertical manner. So we'll have a column as a widget. We'll have this column widget. Okay. Column, children of this column would be the data which we'll be building over here. Okay. So let's just see for now what we are getting. After that, we'll start editing that. See, this is we are getting a empty card. We in the app bar we specified the name of that Pokemon whichever we clicked on. Suppose I clicked on this first one. I I get its name in the app bar, and I get this card. Okay, so let's add some content inside this card. Okay, uh, so what properties could we have over here? We can just have some its name maybe, and various properties we have. Let's just see what all things we can do over there. Okay, first we'll show its name. That would look standard if we show its name first. Okay, let's have some size there, some empty space from above, so that it doesn't get sticked up to the top. We'll give some space from above. For giving just some empty space, you will use this sized box widget, and we'll give it a height of let's say 80 pixels. So we'll have 80 pixels of empty height from above. Okay, and now we'll use a normal text widget. Okay, and we'll give its name Pokemon dot. We have these much properties. What do we want? We want the name. Okay, Pokemon dot name. Okay, let's give it a style. Make it little bolder. Okay, text style widget we have for this. We'll give it a font size, font weight bold. We'll make it bold. We'll use this font weight dot bold. And for size, let's give it a size of a 30 pixel. For say 30 pixel will look good. Okay, let's just restart. We are getting the name of that Pokemon. Okay, below that we'll show its various capabilities that it had. What we are getting from that JSON object. It has a height. We can show. See, if you go to this Pokemon class. Here we have so much details about every Pokemon. Okay, we have its height, weight, type, image, name. Okay, so for now let's just show its height and weight. Okay, so we'll use another text widget and just we'll show the Pokemon dot height. Okay, height will say, and another one will show the weight. Okay, we are doing this inside a column, so this will be laid around in a vertical manner. Okay, let's just wrap this in a string. Okay, we'll use string interpolation over here. uh, okay, we'll interpolate this string. First we'll write this height text, and after that we'll do this. Okay, I hope you know what is how we do string interpolation in Dart. This is how we do it. Okay, let's just give a weight. Okay, so we weight. Okay, we'll use a weight, and we'll interpolate that weight property also. Pokemon dot weight. Okay, weight. Yeah, now we got it. Okay, let's just see our screen. What we are getting now? We are getting its height and weight. Okay, but they are sticking to each other. They are very close to each other. We'll just give this column an alignment property so that they can space evenly. They'll adjust according to the screen size. Okay, just give it an main axis alignment as space evenly would be fine, I think. So it will space them with similar spaces. Okay, see, now they are laid around it in some similar spaces. They are not sticking to each other. Okay, now below that, let's what we have another thing. We have its type. Okay, we have here, we in this Pokemon app, what we have another thing, we have its type. This is a string. This is a list, I think. It will show the type, whatever type of powers that Pokemon has. Okay, so what we can do, we'll show it inside some circular bubbles. Okay, so for that, what we'll do is we'll use a row because we want to show that in a horizontal manner. Let's just use a row for that. We have a row widget. Okay, we'll give it a main axis alignment. Main axis alignment. Space evenly would be fine, I think, so that they can adjust accordingly. And the row, we'll give this row children. Okay, well, we are not passing it some hard coded widgets. We are going to pass the list of that whatever we are getting. Same thing we'll do. Pokemon dot type. Okay, because we are using the type object. See here, the return type of that, the return type of this is a list of string. So we'll have to use that inside some text widget. So we'll use this type. Okay, and we'll use this map method. Okay, what map will do? It will go and get the whole details and how much number according to the number, and it will show it accordingly. Okay, so let's just use a text widget over here. I think a text widget would be fine for that. For uh, for showing that bubble kind of structure, we'll use this widget called filter chip. Okay, filter chip is a widget. Filter chip gives that bubble structure. Okay, so in this we have this label property for that filter chip. It gives a label, and label what we are giving it, the E. Oh, the this E would be fine. The mm, type of that Pokemon power. Okay, label property also we have over here, and why we are getting an error. Okay, we have to do this to list over here because it is not considering. So let's just add this to list return. Okay, so this we have a label. Okay, and what color should we give it? Color, let's give it a color to this bubble. We'll give it a background color of, let's use what color should we use? We'll use yellow. Yellow would be fine. Okay, let's see now what we are getting. See here we are getting those two, but we have not specified the on pressed attribute. That's why it is not showing the color. We'll just pass an empty on selected. Okay, on selected. We'll give a Okay, just empty on selected. We are not going to do anything when the bubble is selected. Now it is giving us that yellow colored layout. Okay, what this was, this is this type. So let's give it an heading. Okay, because it's type, so let's just use a normal text widget. Okay, uh, text which is inside that column of what we have, this powers. I think that is a powers, not types. So let's this will name this as row as types. Okay, so after that we have various properties. I think let's go and see what we can use now. What we can use, again we have a list of, I think weaknesses also returns a list. So let's use that list also in our Pokemon Poké Detail page. Okay, so here we'll just get a text widget like this. We'll copy this one and paste it over here. What we are doing is we first use the powers and weaknesses. Okay, weaknesses. Okay, so below this weaknesses, let's just use another row widget to show that in a similar form, like a similar kind of bubble structure we'll show in a row. Okay, so we'll use this row widget. Main axis alignment, this will also be space evenly. Main axis alignment dot space evenly. Children, will give it children as what we are considering for now. Yeah, weaknesses. So we'll give it as children as Pokemon dot weaknesses. Okay, weaknesses also giving us a list of strings. So we'll use this. Okay, and we'll use this map method and just firstly do this to list. Okay, we'll do this to list so that it doesn't throw any error. Let's just now build the another similar kind of filter chips over here so that we get that bubble structure. Filter chip widget we'll use here. Okay, label of that filter chips would be the text, similar text which we are getting from this, we are passing as a parameter. Okay, background color, what color should we use? Let's just use the color colors dot. We have various colors. Which color would look good for this? We'll use a purple, deep purple color would be fine. Yes, I'll just finish up very quickly. You guys start posting up your doubts. We'll finish up very quickly. We are just finalizing our layout. Okay. Let's just see what we are getting now. Okay. We are getting this another bubble structure over here also. We have not specified the on selected, so we'll give it an on selected over here, and on selected we'll pass it, and that's it. Okay, now we'll get the color also, the purple color which we are expecting. What we are not able to see that text because of its color, so let's just change the color of that text. Style of this text widget will be text style widget. Um, we don't have much time, so everyone please start posting up your doubts in the chat box. As soon as I finalize this layout, I'll start taking up your doubts. Okay, so let's give it a color of white. This text should have a white color, I think, because black color is not visible inside that. Color colors dot white. Okay, white color is fine. Okay, this is looking good now. Now let's see what we are getting. Any Pokemon you click over here. Okay, there are lots of them. I think there are more than 100, 200 Pokemons we have over here. So press on any one of them and you will get their details, their powers and their weaknesses. Let's see how can we get their image also over here. Okay, and if we have their image, that would look also very attractive to us. So in the stack widget, let's below it use a container which will have that image. Okay, so but we want to align it in the center of this part. So after this column, so this position widget. Okay, use an align widget. Okay, what this align widget will do, it will just we align whatever content in have in the position which we specify. So alignment would be align alignment dot alignment dot, what should we create? Top center would be fine. Top, so it will render it at the top center. Okay. Child. We'll use a child as a hero widget. What is a hero widget? I'll tell you in a second. Okay. For now, just don't worry about the hero widget. Okay. Let's give it a child as a container, empty container. Container. Okay. Let's just give it an height to it. Okay, height, we'll use the same height was used on the 200 pixel. Width also we'll use 200 pixels. Okay, let's give it an image that we'll be getting over here. Okay, so we'll use this decoration property. Box decoration would be fine. Okay, box decoration, we will give it an image. What we are using a network image, obviously. So we'll give it a network image over here. Okay, network image expects a property of image. Why it is giving us an error? Okay, we have to wrap it inside a decoration image. Okay, decoration image. Okay, inside this we'll use a network image property. We'll give it a network image. Network image is something which we are getting from a external URL. Okay, so what we are getting, this Pokemon.image. Image means it gives us the URL of that image. We can also specify the fit type. Okay, okay, let's just see what we are getting for now. Okay, it is giving us an error because we didn't give any tag to that hero widget. That's why it has given an error. We'll fix it. Okay, and let's just give a tag to this hero widget. What tag means? It means it wants us a unique tag so that it can translate between the other hero widget. Okay, other class. Okay, we'll use a hero widget here and we'll use another hero widget on the main, on the first page. Okay, what this hero widget will do, this will show us a little piece of animation whenever we do transition between the pages. Okay, so what transition, we just wrapped our image. Okay, when inside a hero widget, here also we'll do the same. Here wherever our image is, uh, we'll wrap our hero widget. We'll wrap our image inside a hero widget. Okay, here in this container we have our image. Let's just wrap it up with a hero widget. Okay, and we'll give the same tag which we gave there. See, here we gave the tag of Pokemon.image. Okay, here also we'll give that same tag, the Poke.image, whatever we have. Okay, let's just see now. Let's just go up and see what we are getting. Notice everyone, we are getting this little piece of animation over here whenever we are transitioning. The image of that Pokemon is getting animated whenever we are whenever we are like transitioning between two pages. You can choose any one, this will go. Okay, okay. So this is one thing of hero widget. But what fault we are having here? The image is very small over here. Okay, so let's just make it so it can it will grow a little bit. So let's specify its fit. So inside this decoration image, we have the property of fit. So we'll make it box fit dot cover. It will cover up the available space. Okay, so now it is looking good, I think. See how whenever we are doing the transition, it is showing us that little piece of animations. Okay, one more thing we are not good is this elevation. This is looking separated. So let's just remove the elevation of our app bar so that it will look uniform. Okay. Where is our app bar? Here we have in this app bar, we'll specify elevation as 0 so that we'll not get that black strip over there. Now it is looking uniform and it is looking fine, I think. So yeah, this is fine. Let's just give this first page app bar. We'll give it a name. What name should we give in this app bar? We'll name it title. We'll give it as, what should we name it? We'll just name it Pokemon app. Okay. So and let's just center the title. Center title is true. Done. Okay, so we are done with this. Okay, we can and you can do more decoration if you want. If you want to decorate this, okay, then you can like edit it to any extent you wish. Today I just tried to show you the basic widgets which we can use. Today we used it using a JSON file, JSON object. We did some HTTP request over here. We use this URL what we had, and we fetched data from that URL, and whatever data we got from that URL, we used it over here and built these widgets over here. Okay, there are lots of them. Like you can keep scrolling on. There are lots of them. Okay, so let's see what doubts you people have. I suppose I am a developer. I have to develop a wallpaper app, and I want to upload a photo to my app using app itself. What I have to do? There are packages for selecting your photo. There are different kinds of packages. Either you can select from your mobile gallery, or you can use your mobile's camera, whatever you want. For first, I'll suggest you get good with the basics. Then jump to that. Okay. Can we add a language change option in an app while we are building it? Yes, you can do it. I told you you can modify it to any extent you want. Okay. Again, I could have done more. I could have made it more interesting, but we do not have much time for that. So I'll give you people this project and do one thing. Do whatever editing you want on this. Okay, I'll send you this GitHub link for this project. Okay, I'll put it on my GitHub, and I'll send you the link. And what you people do, you try to add more good things into this. Okay, I add other things. Okay, you share that APK file. For APK file, we need to build a release build. But what will you do with the APK file? You need to first see the code. Okay, so first focus on the code. APK file, for building an APK file, we have to just run a command to build, and we have to specify if we want to do a release build or we want to do a debug build. Okay, release build will have a smaller size of APK file, and if we do a debug build, it has a bigger size of that APK file. Okay. Okay, now start posting up your doubts in the chat box with the widgets. If you have, we used so many widgets today. Okay, we used the very new widgets today. The filter chip, the stack. Okay, okay. So quickly, just everyone put up your doubt in the chat box. Uh, we can add a floating action button over here. Okay, we can add a drawer, whatever you want. How do I get dark theme to the app? Yes, yesterday we struggled with this. I got the solution for that. For dark theme, we just have to uh, theme data dot dark. Okay. Uh, Here we have it. Property of see theme. In this theme, we can do this instead of using this. Let's remove this primary color, and let's just do this dot dark. Okay. Just in this theme property, specify it as theme data dot dark. This will do it. Okay, but again, yesterday what we were doing a hot reload. The hot reload won't work for that. You have to do a hot restart. So it will build, it will see now it turned out into a dark mode. Okay, and also you can use this your systems mode if you want. Okay, if you want it to be default with the system, if you want it like the theme data dot see, we have dark, we have fallback light, and we can also do it according to the system. Okay, but if you want, you can specify that. But yeah, it's up to you. Let's just go back and make it as it was earlier. Or if it is also looking fine, I think the color is fine. So let's just give let's just give this app bar a color, okay, with a teal color, okay. So that would look uniform, okay. Okay, detail. I think this one is. Let's give it a color of teal color. Uh, Colors dot teal. So this will match up with the background. Now it is looking good. Okay. So yeah, you can do it. You can use dark mode if you wish. If you want the normal light mode, you can use it. Okay. Come on, please put up your doubt. We don't have much time now. Once we have completed with our app, what we want the user to download it on Play Store. Okay, that is another part. You have to make a debug a release APK for that. Okay, you have to also specify some change some properties in this Android folder, or if you are doing it for iOS, you have to change some properties over there. We have to create a key file of that. Okay, how do I create an app's icon? Okay, this is also one thing to note. See, for now, what icon our app is having, see, this Poke app is having this Flutter icon. So if you want to give it your personalized, customized icon, just go to this Android folder. In this app Android, see the path. Open up a project in this Android folder. Go to the app src main. See here you have this mipmap.hdpi. Here this is here it has this launchers for the logos for various type. So here inside this mipmap folder, you can specify whatever icons you want to give. Here they have given the icons for different kinds of sizes. Okay, so here they have given 5 different kinds of sizes for that icon. Okay, you can go here and you can give it an icon. Okay, of a customized icon. Okay, for iOS also you can do the same. There are some properties file over here. You can do that for iOS also. See here you have this app icon dot appset icon. Here also they have used the same thing. They have just given the icon for various sizes. Okay, so for iOS you can go here, and for Android you can go to that Android folder and do that. Okay, again um, tomorrow we'll be looking into Firebase. Okay, if we have to add options for both light themes, dark themes, yes, you can do it. See, you can just take a button. Okay, you can create a kind of drop down menu, and there you can give it a condition. Okay, if the chosen one is dark, then use this theme, or otherwise use the what we say, the light theme. Okay, again, yeah, here you can use that ternary operator. You can use it over here where we have that in this main file. See, here you can use a ternary operator. You can give it any drop the any text field, whatever you want, or a button. If someone presses on that button, it will change the state of that button. And here you can give any condition. Okay, you can use a ternary operator, and you can give both options like this: theme data dot what light. Okay, but like for now, don't worry about these things. These doesn't matter much. You can customize it later. For now, just focus on the widgets which we are using over here. Try exploring every widget and every property of every widget. Okay, what if we run with a run app without an active network? It will not give an error. See what this will do. Let's just do that also. Yeah, I'll just put my phone in an airplane mode over here. Okay, let's see what happens when I put it. I'll open up the Poke app. Let's see what happens when we try to run it on the airplane mode. Let's just hot restart. Okay, I'll just remove this condition I have just made over here. Where is it? Let's just keep dark. I think dark is fine for everyone. You can add that conditions according to you. Let's just hot restart and see what we are getting. See, this will not stop. This will just show a circular progress indicator. As we saw, if the data, if we are, because we are not going, we are not able to reach to that API, we are not able to make an HTTP request. So we have this PokeHop object as null for now. So we have this condition. Okay, if the data is null, we are just showing up this circular progress indicator. As soon as we get the data, so let's just see if we turn off the airplane mode, what happens. See, let's just see what happens as soon as we get the data. It will just render the data. Okay, you can add conditions like these. Okay, ठीक है, don't worry about that much for now. Okay, what does the hero widget do? Hero widget, we used it for that transition. Okay, when we were transitioning between different pages, we why is PokeHub null? PokeHub is null because PokeHub is, we are getting the data. PokeHub is an object, okay, of this Pokemon class. What we are doing is we are making an HTTP request of this URL, this URL we have over here, and after we get data from that URL, that JSON data, we are decoding the JSON data using this decoded value. So we are using the result over here. Okay, we decoded that body of that JSON, and this PokeHub, we are assigning that decoded because we put it up our phone on airplane mode. It was not able to make the internet request, the HTTP request. That's why it was giving us null. Okay, so that's why it was coming null. Okay, after that, one more question someone had: what does the hero widget do? So see, hero widget is, we can use it for this transition. When we click on this, see if you can see this, we are getting this little piece of animation. Okay, just see the image of that Pokemon, whatever we are tapping on. So for this animation, we use that hero widget. Okay, if we have two same objects on two different pages, we can just whatever the common things are on two pages. See, on these two pages, this thing is common. The images of that Pokemons are common. Okay, these are the same images. So we can just wrap that image in inside this hero widget. Okay, and what we are doing it, we are giving it a tag. Okay, and here also the image, where are the image? See here, the image here we also did the same thing. This container which is having the image, we wrapped it with a hero widget and we gave it as the same tag. Okay, Pokemon.image, and here we also gave that poke.image over the object's URL. Okay, so both of them should have similar tags. You can use any tag. If you have some ID, you can do it. Okay, if we don't, if the tags are not same, it will throw an error. Suppose if I give some random tag over here, okay, if I give it a tag as 2, okay, it will throw an error. So the tags of both of the pages should, see, now it is giving me error and the page is not getting built. So the tags of both the widgets should be same. Okay, quickly, we have 5 minutes. Please post up your doubts. Okay, if you have doubts regarding to the widgets that we use today. Okay, HTTP package, we added that HTTP package from pub.dev. Okay, we used it HTTP package. We pasted it here in our YAML file. So today I'll suggest you, when I'll share the link, you open up this project in your editor and take a look at the whole code and try building this project. Okay, and on the top of that, you also make your customizations in this. Okay, the yesterday's video, I'll ask the management team. They'll provide you the video. Okay, I don't have that video. Okay, I will post today's video also and yesterday's video also. Okay, so so when you'll get this project, just open this up and see whatever what style of code we wrote here. Okay, why did we use grade? Okay, what is the padding widget that we wrapped it with, what happened because of that. Try widgets, and like this only you'll be good at this. Okay, you can't just learn every widget. Okay, so the only option is just play around with this. Okay, how do we open up this from GitHub? See, I'll share the link in I hope you've installed Git Bash on your computer. So just in that Git Bash, run the command git clone, and the URL, paste that URL after that. This will clone that whole repository that I'll post on my GitHub. Okay. Otherwise, I'll just share the ready-made command for that. I'll just do the git clone and my URL. Okay. Uh, I'll not keep this project for too long on my GitHub. I'll just keep it for 2-3 days, so you guys can download it, because like it is not something that I like to post it on my GitHub profile. So that's why I'll put it. It will be there for 2-3 days. After that, I'll delete it probably. So make sure you download it within 2-3 days. Okay. Okay. So I think everyone's doubt is cleared. We'll wind up for now. Tomorrow we'll look into Firebase. We'll see how we can make database requests and all using that Firebase cloud database. Okay, so I guess we'll wrap up for today. Sir,
Yeah. So I guess every doubts have been clear for today, and we can conclude the meeting, right?
yes, okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. We'll be sharing the tomorrow's link at the same time, and try to come as soon as possible till 11:55, so as you can't miss any portion for the course. Thank you.